Thank you very much, Professor Drulak, for inviting me. And I am a professor of finance from Warsaw School of Economics, and as well I am very much engaged in the activity of the Institute of Schumann Thought, who basically said in 1962, we don't want to have a superstate. That 1 year before his death, he just expressed that word, the sentence, so that in the future, different, leftists and neoliberals would not try to change his interpretation of his approach. This is a mission of the Institute of Schumann Thought. And I think you know many expressions in speeches of my friends here that we need to build a coalition of Central European countries. And next slide. So Robert Schuman, as you know, is basically beatification process. The formal stage was finished, and now we wait for a miracle. So you may pray for his intercession. And next slide, please. This is a major postulator, Professor Father Ardura. Next slide, please. And this is a prayer. You can copy that, and you can pray for Schumann intercession so that he will support the building the community of Patrimonium nations. So Patrimonium nations are all nations who are in that region between the three seas, including Serbia, including Moldavia, and many other countries. The community of Patrimonium nations is not only the 12 countries which belong to the European Union. So this is a different approach to that. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So Institute of Schumann Thought, we organized this year as a second time the Schumann Patrimonium Forum. What is important out of these very great speeches, what kind of conclusions we can have and what actions plans we can do. So one of the actions plans is that Schumann Patrimonium Forum, which put together in this year 150 young people up to the age 40 years old. So many are in this audience, they are still young people. Young people being active in the different social activities and as well politically active. So one of the platforms, so we are basically like to suggest that this Schumann Patrimonium Forum, which is going to be organized every year, that you are invited as a co-organizers of that. So the platform of just stay at the magazine. We just created the Schumann Optics magazine, which is, presenting different approaches for building the community of European nations from the perspective of the Schumann optic. So I think that many speeches you presented today are very useful, to be published in that magazine. So we distribute this in the Polish and English language, currently to 5,000 organizations around Europe, and you can join to that activity as a co-producer, co-publisher, so this can be our common activity. So next slide, please. So there is some book we published, which is just synthesis of that major views and concepts of Schumann, including his spiritual life. And we are currently translating into different languages in the Central Europe languages. So you can basically as well join. I invite you to translate into the Serbian language, right? So, and this will be basically something which help us to be on the same basis. So next slide, please. One of the actions we suggest as well to do is the University of Applied Christian and Social Science and Education in Economics. Not only in economics, but as well in economics. So nowadays, you know, the teaching of the Catholic Church, socio-economic Christian thoughts are basically removed on the side. And this is important, I mean, science. So the teaching, social teaching of the Catholic Church is a science. Like, you know, economics, this is important, you know, to be promoted and to be used for the education. So next slide, please. So we suggest basically to get together, this is a suggestion to the audience presented today, but not only, to build a network of the basically associated universities in the Patrimonium to support economic development. So there is a very weak relations between the universities in the Central Europe. So establishing student scientific clubs on universities in the Patrimonium countries, which will help, you know, to put together the young generation. I think the great conclusions of all speakers here are worth to say, yes, what to next to do, what the young generation, you know, without the young generation, without formation of the young generation and education, we can basically do not see a positive future for our region and as well for the entire Europe. So we are losing more and more, you know, young generation. So next, establishing in Patrimonium the University of Applied Economics and Social Sciences based on the social Christian thoughts in a distance learning model. So it can be in English, okay? So this can be on the MS Teams or other platforms. So this is a suggestion, you know, to basically not only promote, but use that as a base, as a platform for creating implementation of that what we are, practical implementation of the Christian thoughts in the different, areas. And building the network of scientific teams for development of the research and applications of socio-economic solidarity. So nowadays, socio-economic solidarity is something which is desired by people, I think in every country. So I think that in Poland we try with success to some certain extent since many years, since 7-8 years, to implement this solidar economics. And the solidar economics, I think, gave for Poland a very big progress in declining the unemployment. It is the lowest unemployment, the almost highest growth in the GDP, very, stable economy. So this is due to, I think, basically this implementation of the solidar economy. So next slide, please. And now, you know, being more, I like to be more focused now on economics. So what is the problem in the economic model of the European Union? That there is increasing differences. unfortunately. Everybody thinks, yes, this became better, improved. In nominal terms, yes, but there is increasing differences. So on the globe, you have, due to the neoliberal and activity of oligarchs, so that about 82% of the wealth created on the globe is flowing to the hands of the 1%. Next slide, please. So you see that picture which shows, how big are differences in the capital per capita in different countries in Europe. So what does it mean, The economic potential of our families. The economic potential of our families is very important to develop different things you said in your speeches. So, of course, we know Germany, Netherlands, and France, when we joined the European Union, were on a different level. But we expect in such a community convergence in the economic capital, in economic condition. So in Poland, there were some meetings in the group of an old type of economists, liberal, leftist, conservative, and they all agreed that the economic model of the European Union doesn't allow to converge to, in the long term, to basically common level of economic condition, capital. Next slide, please. You see that graph is just showing what happened from the beginning of the joining the European Union. So you see the highest one is Netherlands, the lower one is France and Germany, and the lowest is Poland and Hungary. I do not show on that picture the other countries from the Central Europe, but other countries from the Central Europe are almost on the same level. So you see that this is the financial capital per assets per capita. Okay? Do not believe that our wealth, economic wealth, should be measured by GDP per capita. It's a wrong measure. It's not enough. We should use at least 4 factors. As you know, in the African countries, there are some countries where the GDP per capita is very high, even higher than in our countries. But the rant is poverty, okay? So you need to use another measures, like, deposits on account, the property, shares you have in your pocket. And you see these graphs are not converging. The differences are increasing. Next slide, please. This shows, the current balance of the trade, exchange trade, by particular countries in the European Union. So the majority have a Germany. Everybody else is just a small boy. And so next slide, please. So there was a wrong decision to implement the euro currency. Common currency you cannot implement, in the region where you have different characteristics of the economies. So Mandel, who was a prize winner, a Nobel Prize winner, he just stated that very much indeed. Next slide, please. So look what happened after the implementing euros up to 2019. Losers, Portugal, France, Italy, and others. Winners, Germany and Netherlands. What value they lost? Italy, France, Portugal. They lost almost 3 times annual GDP. It's a huge number, thousands of billions of euros. So we do not have our friend from Croatia. Croatia joined last time, and they really lost much, from day to day. The inflation, due to the joining the euro, was just increased by sometimes 80%. Next slide, please. What this slide shows, the productivity. Look, the highest productivity exists on average, annual on average, in our countries. The Poland has a very high, Romania, Bulgaria. But look what is with the productivity in Germany, France, is just almost zero or negative. So we produce the wealth for Western countries. And if the companies, corporations from the Western, they have big share in your market, then they transfer much profit due to that increased productivity to their own countries. So we observed in Poland, we changed, let's say, rules or principles, and we noticed that over the last 6 years, increased productivity generated higher salaries. So we basically implemented some, instruments so that to decline the transfer of a capital to Western countries, so that to increase the capital in Poland. Next slide, please. So look, this line with dot line, this is average productivity in euro area. This almost doesn't change over many years. No productivity is increasing. The line, the blue line or black line, this is Poland. You see how fast we are growing? And especially from when our Conservative Party took the government, this is a good result of that. And a last consideration and last remark, so that to not exceed my time, I would like to say what we need to do as a community of the Central Nations. We need to increase the trade between our countries. When joining the European Union, there was bilateral, because of the interest of Germany, France, Netherlands, bilateral trade. But we didn't utilize, the trade between us. I get just rough, so if you import, your cash is flowing out. So you lose your capital. So what I suggest to do, let's increase the exchange between us. I buy from Czech, so the money stays in the community of Central Nations. They do not go to the Germany. Of course, we cannot cut all the imports from Germany or France. But according to my calculation, on the annual basis, we can, keep around 100,000 euros on the annual basis in our region. So this is a huge amount of money. So we don't lose them for the import to the Western. So we can, they are the progress in technology, the progress in basically knowledge, engineers. All of your countries has a great people, engineers, businesses, okay? We have enough good conditions to buy from you, and you can buy from Poland, right? So we are not anymore the small boys who need to, shorten the distance to the different areas in the businesses. Of course, there is not possible to, cut the entire import from Western, but 100,000 euros 100,000 billion, excuse me, 100,000 billion euros each year. It's a huge amount of money which can, be used for the investment we can do. So thank you very much indeed.